So the next speaker will be Madame Melanie Nutter. And Madame Nutter is currently the director of the Department of the Environment of San Francisco government. Before holding this position, Madame Nutter worked beside Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, who is Speaker of the House. And Madame Nutter also managed Nutter Consulting, which is a San Francisco-based consulting company that helps non-profit and political organizations to raise funds and to manage campaigns. Melanie Nutter holds a bachelor's degree in communication and environmental studies from Northwest University. Please welcome Melanie Nutter.
Good morning. Bonjour. Paris is one of my favorite cities, so it was just wonderful to hear all of the great innovation and sustainability work that's happening in that city. It's a little bit of a tough act to follow, but here in the city and county of San Francisco, just right across the bay, we have quite a few similar initiatives underway. So wanted to spend a few minutes today detailing what makes a sustainable city in San Francisco, and also how does that make us a smart city, and what is our vision for where we're headed. But before I get started, I did want to, of course, thank Citrus for hosting the event today, thank EDF and the Council General of France for putting together this wonderful event. I'm really honored to be here representing our city, so thank you very much. So first and foremost, in the city and county of San Francisco, we are a city that's about 800,000 people. It swells to 1.2 million people during the workday. And if you haven't yet been to San Francisco, or if you don't know, we are surrounded by water on 3 sides. So that means, similar to many cities around the world, we are particularly vulnerable to sea level rise and to climate change. For that reason, and also for the reason that we have a population that values environmental issues, we've set a number of ambitious goals to help us tackle climate change. So again, similar to the city of Paris, we have some very ambitious goals regarding carbon emission reduction. The first goal was to reduce our carbon emissions by 20% by the end of 2012. Although we're not going to meet that goal, we have reduced our carbon emissions by 14.5% in the city, which is doubling the Kyoto Protocol. So we've made great progress, but there's still a long way to go. Our next benchmark for reducing carbon emissions will be 25% below 1990 levels by the end of 2017. So a number of the programs that I'll be detailing today are all around reducing carbon emissions and ensuring that we can ward off the worst effects of climate change in San Francisco. Now, this slide here, of course, we do consider San Francisco today a sustainable city. Back in 2011, Siemens and the Economist Intelligence Unit gave San Francisco an award as the greenest city in North America, which was a fantastic honor for San Francisco to achieve. And again, many of the programs that I'll detail today hopefully will paint a picture for why we achieved that, and also why we believe having a smart city means also having a sustainable city. So being a sustainable city in San Francisco and a smart city means that we are energy efficient. We have a public-private partnership between the city and county of San Francisco and our local utility, which is Pacific Gas and Electric, and it's a program called Energy Watch. This is a program that works with small businesses throughout the city to help them do an energy audit and understand where they can gain reductions from taking action, and also where they could save money on their energy bills. So this program has been around for about 7 years, and just in the past 3 years alone, we've helped 4,000 businesses save on average $4,500 on their energy bill annually. And this has equaled 40,000 tons of carbon emission reduction locally every year. So this is a very successful public-private partnership that is both helping businesses with their bottom line as well as with environmental protection. When it comes to energy efficiency in buildings, this is another huge area of focus for the city and county of San Francisco. 2 policies and programs that I wanted to highlight that will relate also to our smart cities work. The first is an ordinance we recently passed called the Existing Commercial Building Ordinance. This is an ordinance that focuses particularly on ensuring any commercial building that is 10,000 square feet or over must report their energy use data to the city. And this is really with the idea that having open data and that transparency, that's the type of information that we know will help property owners and property managers take action. Once they see where there's inefficiencies in their building, then they will hopefully be inspired to act. So that is really an ordinance around data and transparency. We launched it last year, and we right now have about 50% of the buildings complying, and we're doing a lot of outreach and education to the commercial sector to ensure we can get more buildings reporting their data. But a companion program to that ordinance is something called PACE, Property Assess Clean Energy. So we launched a commercial PACE program in San Francisco, which allows commercial building owners to access capital to invest in retrofits of their building once they decide what they'd like to do based on an energy audit. So this is a very powerful finance mechanism where a commercial building can pay back the cost of any upgrades on their property tax bill over time. So those are two programs that we have going on right now in San Francisco that are really helping us to be both a smart city and an efficient city for the built environment. And when it comes to renewable energy, we have set another ambitious goal in the city, which is to be 100% renewably powered in 10 years. When Mayor Newsom, who was our previous mayor, announced this goal, there was a little bit of concern about whether or not we could meet that goal because it's very, very ambitious. And for about the past year and a half, we've run a mayor's task force looking at what is it going to take to help us get to that 100% renewable energy goal. Right now, we're at 41% renewable energy. And we know now that there is a very clear path which involves being a smarter city to implementing renewable energy in the city and county of San Francisco. Although we have a long way to go from 41% to 100%, we have made some great progress. We have about 3,000 solar panel installations throughout the city and county of San Francisco, and we have about 19 megawatts of renewable power in the city. Now, one of the tools that we have created that relates to how we're going to utilize technology and innovation to reach some of our sustainability goals, this is one tool that we have utilized over the past few years to increase the renewable energy uptake. It's called our SF Energy Map. And what this is it's available on the web, and any individual, business, or resident can type in their address and get a whole array of data that will help them decide whether or not they want to get a solar panel. This was developed in 2006, so it has been around for a number of years in partnership with CH2M Hill, so a private entity helped us develop this. And it has served a model that now 30 cities have replicated energy maps and have similar maps to this one. Essentially, it uses aerial imagery, our city property database, and proprietary modeling algorithms. And it's software that essentially enables any resident or business to calculate the solar potential for each roof, the orientation of the roof, the system size, electricity output, and cost, as well as access to rebates. When this energy map first launched, we had about 700 solar installations, and now, as I mentioned, we have 3,000. So it's been an excellent outreach and education tool, but also a great way to utilize technology to increase the adoption of renewable energy. Another online platform that we launched in San Francisco recently is called Improve SF. This is an initiative that's coming out of our Office of Innovation, and what it essentially is an online platform that generates opportunities for government and citizens to work together by connecting civic challenges to community problem solvers. And right now there is an energy use challenge. Essentially what this is asking residents to submit ideas to encourage SF residents to share their energy bill data. In the city and county of San Francisco, it's somewhat challenging to implement smart city solutions with energy data because it has to be approved by the resident or business to be released. It is not public data. And so right now we are running this challenge to see what great ideas are out there in terms of when we're able to access the data, what can we use it for, and how can that help us meet our environmental goals. Another way that we consider ourselves both a smart and sustainable city is by being less wasteful. We do have another ambitious goal, which is to reach zero waste by 2020. That means that in the city and county of San Francisco, we plan to send no waste to landfill. As of 2020, everything would be either recycled, composted, or reused. And we've been very successful in this particular area. Right now, we are diverting 80% of our waste from landfill in the city and county of San Francisco without incineration. And that really has come through a number of factors. One is an easy-to-use program. So as you can see here, the blue bin for recycling, green bin for compost, and the black bin for landfill. That is universal throughout the city, both for residents and businesses. We also have enabling policies. So we now have mandatory composting and recycling in San Francisco, which has actually been a huge job creator. Recology, which is our private sector partner that helps us implement this program, now employs about 1,000 people to help to run the zero waste program. We also have financial incentives. So the more that you recycle and compost, the lower your garbage bill, and invest quite a bit in outreach and education to ensure that residents and businesses know how to use this program. Another area where we have utilized technology to help enable us to get to our zero waste goal is an online database that integrates with information we've gathered throughout the city and actually throughout the region on where you can recycle, compost, or use anything. So we used to have something called the SF Recycle Database. It's now called RecycleWare. This is about to be relaunched. And it's, again, just a great online tool that San Franciscans and residents will have access to figure out how they can comply with the mandatory composting and recycling law and how they can help us achieve zero waste. And just to mention, this website does integrate with Google Analytics, so it provides our department with quite a bit of information about what are some problem products, what are people searching for, as well as providing us information about location of users, as well as information about recycling centers in the city. So also being a sustainable city in San Francisco means that we are transit first and EV ready. Back in the 70s, the city and county of San Francisco passed a policy that said our primary focus when it comes to transportation is to inspire people to get out of their vehicles, to use the public transit system, to bike, and to walk. So one of the things that our department does is works with a commuter benefits program to inspire people to access rebates to find alternative transportation. But we do realize that occasionally you will need a single occupancy vehicle, and if that's the case, we want San Francisco to be EV ready. So one of the things that my department works on is implementing the electric vehicle infrastructure throughout the city. We right now have 100 charging stations. About half of those are on city property, half of those are on private property, and it's helping us to become the EV capital of the US, which is one of Mayor Lee's goals. We've got about 13.5 chargers per 100,000 people, which is the highest per capita currently in the US. So the idea, of course, is to ensure that on the municipal side, we can develop this infrastructure so that when people are making a decision about getting out of their fossil fuel powered car, they can go green and buy a plug-in EV. Again, as it relates to how we connect this into interoperability and being a smart city, many of these chargers have been implemented in the past year. So although we don't have a lot of data yet, we do work with ChargePoint America, the ChargePoint network, which does provide real-time stats and usage of chargers' usage patterns, which helps us determine strategy for future implementation. So we're in the process right now of collecting a lot of the data that is coming from these chargers that will both help us figure out when we're rolling out the infrastructure, what additional locations will need EV chargers, and also how to make it a more EV-ready city. So a couple of other citywide initiatives that I wanted to mention. The mayor of San Francisco, Mayor Lee, does want us to be the innovation capital of the US. So in addition to being the greenest city and the EV capital, that's yet another one of our goals, which is one of the reasons that he did hire Jane Nath to be the Chief Innovation Officer of San Francisco. But this is an initiative very similar to the city of Paris, where we've prioritized having access to data and transparency of citywide data. What this initiative is, there's some legislation that was passed in the city that requires all city departments to make all non-confidential data sets available on a website called datasf.org. Right now, about 200 sets have been released. These are from departments as diverse as the police department, our public works department, the Municipal Transportation Agency, and my department, Department of the Environment. And about 60 software apps have been created based on these data sets. Again, very similar to the city of Paris, we know that the city faces a number of challenges, and we do not have all the answers at the municipal government. We want to make sure that we are working with the private sector and with other problem solvers in the community to help us be more effective, more efficient, more sustainable. So that is really the focus of Open Data SF. And then on the clean tech side, for a number of years, as it relates to jobs and economy, the city and county of San Francisco has really prioritized attracting and investing in the clean tech sector. So right now we have about 50,000 clean tech jobs in the city and county of San Francisco. That's 208 clean tech companies. And this, of course, relates directly to our sustainability goals. Again, many of the ways that we are able to achieve our sustainability goals is by having access to cutting-edge technology and cutting-edge companies. So we will continue to work with the clean tech sector and make San Francisco a place where it's easy to do business for those companies. And then just lastly, again, very similar to the city of Paris, we have just launched a project called Living Innovation Zones. Last week, Mayor Lee did announce an initiative called Cleantech SF. And Cleantech SF is an organization that will help us implement this idea around living innovation zones. The fact that the city has assets and there are private businesses with interesting and innovative technologies that need access to land and to resources to be able to test those out. So we just launched this last week and would love to learn more about Paris's experience with a lot of the interesting technologies and services that were piloted. That is the vision that we see, where whether it's Department of the Environment's office space, we are moving to a new building, and we just, for a commercial interior, are offering up the ability to work with our department on energy management systems. So we have a number of companies who've made some interesting proposals to help us with that. Whether it's working with our Public Utilities Commission that has a lot of property in the city. Here you see the Moscone Center, where there's a huge solar array. Whether it's working with our Metropolitan Transportation Agency to solve some of our transit issues. There's going to be a lot of opportunity in San Francisco to partner. So just in closing, in San Francisco, we do believe that smart city solutions enable further progress on sustainability, and our sustainability goals will need to rely on smart city solutions to succeed. So Mayor Lee's goal, as I mentioned, is to be the innovation capital of the U.S., and we know that that is synonymous with our future as a smart city. So we look forward to exploring a partnership with the City of Paris and with other private companies as well, to help us meet these goals and to achieve this vision. So thank you very much for your time today, and I look forward to your questions.